So my name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of Ecomcy, who is bringing you this webinar today together with all the speakers. So Ecomcy is a full service agency when it comes to Amazon, Walmart, and TikTok. So we've been doing this for over 7 years now, so a long time. We have worked with over 1,000 brands, and now we essentially in-house have a team of almost close to 90 people. So we have a lot of kind of understanding managing all these brands in-house in terms of, the things that are working, the things that are not working. We have a lot of observation, case studies. And with Alexa, this is essentially what we are also seeing with some of the early experiments, that this is definitely something that people should be aware of. With all the things that we're seeing when it comes as well, we're seeing that Amazon shifting pretty fast in different areas, not only on the Alexa side of things. If some of you guys follow me, I'm very vocal on other areas. So just for example, Amazon Marketing Cloud, which I think is the future when it comes to advertising. Like we're seeing how Amazon, if you start reading kind of between the lines, is clearly going towards the direction of focusing on audience focus kind of a platform where it's all down to the behavior of the consumer, reverse engineering that and giving that data for you, in this case, the seller. Try to use it through Amazon Marketing Cloud, figure out Alexa to the optimization of your listings, and hopefully maximize your exposure on the market. So that's pretty much a quick introduction, kind of the background in terms of why I'm focusing on this topic today. So I guess let's jump straight into it. So I guess for those that are not aware of, everything that has to do with the voice commerce, especially when it comes to Amazon, has been something that is been growing significantly fast. We're talking as it stands right now in the United States, we have over 135 million Alexa devices, and this is a number that keeps growing over and over. Like you see how Amazon pretty much every single time there's a Prime Day, they're super aggressive with giving you Alexa pretty much for free. Like sometimes it's cheaper to buy it's more expensive to buy a cookie than Alexa. So they're pretty much giving Alexa to everybody, and there is a strategy behind. They're not giving these free devices for free for the sake of giving it for free. It's because they know where they're heading is essentially voice commerce. They know people essentially is adapting more and more, and that's something that they're seeing in their data. Repeat purchases by saying, okay, buy the same kind of toilet paper, or buy the same kind of soap, or buy the same kind of orange juice. And at this kind of engagements, they know that at the end of the day is what is going to drive people to consume more and have less resistance during the purchase kind of journey. And that's why the new kind of implementation of how Rufus is being transitioned to Alexa is something that you have to be very aware of, because then if you understand that, that is going to allow you to also reverse engineer how you essentially going to optimize your listings and potentially also your advertisements. So when somebody asks a question to Alexa, potentially your product is the one that is recommended the fastest. So essentially, when it comes to the whole system and how Alexa is being thought of, is you as a consumer will speak to the device. Of course, you're gonna ask a specific action. In this example, they wanna order more dish soap, right? And the first thing that Amazon is gonna do, if it doesn't have any kind of history when it comes to you buying essentially dish soap, is going out there and trying to reverse engineer what is potentially the best product for you. But guess what? When you, in this case, are Alexa, Amazon, you go out there and find more essentially dish soap for your client, it's going to be very tough for you to recommend the best one to your consumers. And that's what we have started to identify, that certain signals are making clearly are being used very aggressively by Alexa to make this decision making faster. Because also as a device, in this case, you can really keep the client as you can see in the picture, waiting for a long period of time to recommend which dish soap to go for. You have to have a system that's very robust and it's based on historical data. And what we're seeing is that one of the first kind of things that significant driving now Alexa recommending, and you can even test this after the webinar, is if you start asking for specific products, we're seeing a lot of consistency with Amazon choosing products that have the Amazon Choice Badge. Of course, the Amazon Choice Badge is not something that is new. We know it's been out there for years now, but now it's becoming more and more important, right? Like essentially, we're going to a phase that we need to start pointing more towards, okay, how do we make sure this batch is on my listing? Because especially if this is a product that the consumer has never bought, Amazon is usually going to default to signals, in this case, a badge that's going to make it very easy for them to recommend a product that's been vetted by them. Now, there's going to be our signals, and I'm going to be telling you which are those. So you can start kind of brainstorming what you can do moving forward to optimize for Alexa. But we started to see that by playing with Alexa and asking questions, the Amazon choice kind of products are the ones that are being more consistent in terms of the recommendations from the system. Now, just to give you kind of some high level recommendation, I'm sure some of you already are aware of this, but I still wanted to bring this to the table. In order for you to get the Amazon choice badge, the most important thing at the end of the day is to have a very essential history at the conversion level when it comes to a specific keyword. That's why if you're looking to get a badge on a specific keyword and you really want to make sure you keep the badge for a long period of time, what we usually do is create exact match campaigns, and then we target those keywords consistently, and we very closely monitor the conversion of the keyword to make sure that we keep it as high as possible, and we have a high a volume of sales potentially on that keyword. Now, that's something that has worked for us to get the badge. Now, of course, for some of you, you might come to me and say, my main keyword is very competitive, I will never be able to achieve that. Then in that case, try to find keywords that you know by the way people usually by natural language will refer to your product, which is what I usually define as long-tail keywords. You start getting badge for long-tail keywords, because guess what, if they say your dish soap is for whatever reason is very specific to a type of ceramic, right? Let's say is dish soap for ceramic, for blue ceramic. I'm just making something up, right? And let's say you get a badge for that specific keyword, and you know for a fact, because that's why your ceramic is blue, in your dish soap is meant for this kind of ceramic. You know for a fact that people that usually want a soap for this kind of ceramic, they will ask that question, then Alexa is going to recommend you more. Now, the other thing that we're seeing, and this is very basic and you should have this regardless, is the amount of reviews. So you need to have consistent reviews when it comes to getting the badge. And then the other two are very kind of foundational. Of course, FBA is a must, and the pricing is a big contribution when it comes to the badge. So very quickly, I wanted to give you this and give you a foundation so you know how you can start aiming towards that. Now, that's the first kind of very important signal we're seeing Alexa now using to choose pros. The second one is essentially from a voice perspective. We're seeing that Amazon is focused a lot on the kind of voice search that is happening to essentially recommend your product. And here's where I put you to examples, right? So on the left-hand side, you have the traditional keywords. In this case, you have oat milk, 32 ounces, right? And then on the right hand side, which is what usually we do when it comes to Alexa, I would say, Alexa, order my oat milk. By the way, while I'm doing the presentation, make sure you put your Alexas in mute, because I think my Alexa was just gonna order some oat milk right here. uh, so what you want to do is essentially all these different keywords on the right hand side. What I'm doing already with some of our brands is, and you can even do this with something like ChatGPT or Claude, you can ask and you can prompt it. Let's say you have a keywords that you get from one of the softwares that you can utilize out there, then you get all the keywords. You go to Claude or ChatGPT and you say, create a series of sentences that you ask if you are a consumer, if you're going to go and shop for Alexa. It will come with a series of keywords. And then what you want to do is essentially try to embed these kind of sentences within your copy, potentially within your keywords, because that's another way that we're seeing potentially Alexa recommending you more. Why? Because when you ask that question as you order, as I'm mentioning here, and you have those in specific kind of exact format, we also seeing Alexa giving more contribution towards that. The other thing, which is essentially to make it more graphical here, give you a pretty good examples of how you can do that. So for example, let's say on the title, right? You can essentially, rather than putting the keyword that have to do with very kind of exact match that's only from an SEO perspective, and keyword stuffing, which is what a lot of people do. You can see here, for example, how in this example I'm making more voice kind of focus towards Alexa. The same with the bullet points, right? Works great for any coffee maker, right? And then, for example, the oat milk Alexa recommends. This is actually something we're doing a lot. we're putting sometimes these kind of sentences or Alexa recommends. Again, we don't know, we can, it's kind of gray area and we're playing with that, but that's something that we're also seeing the potential could make your product get flagged more by the system. So again, the goal is try to put yourself in the shoes of the consumer while you will ask, and make sure your listing is answering that, right? Now, the third thing that we're seeing that's working a lot is the reorder loop. We're seeing that Alexa is heavily recommending products based also on the loyalty that it has, essentially subscribe and save. So why this is very important? Because the reason why Alexa will recommend your product over another in a sea of hundreds of products is because at the end of the day, a big signal for, let's imagine you're Alexa and you're gonna go to a supermarket, right? And let's say you are observing people walking by the shop, by the shopping halls, right? And you see uh, out of 100 people, 80 people go to the same location in the hall and only choose a product, go to the checkout and buy. What will you do as a consumer? You will go and do the same thing as the 80 people are doing it. So that's how the system is actually thinking. And why do I mention that? Because now you need to also figure out how to increase your subscribe and save, because we're also seeing that if you increase your subscribe and save kind of percentage, that's also a signal for essentially Amazon to recommend your product over the other. So that's another thing I would recommend a lot of people to start focusing on. Now, the other thing I would recommend as well is, this is something, again, we also testing, and this is something that I strongly believe is also going to be a big signal, is the shipping as well. So at the end of the day, a lot of times when people do an order to Alexa, they might include a time frame. Oh, I need it by today, I need it by tomorrow, or things like that. So what we're testing as well, and we start to see some traction there, is putting certain time frames sometimes on the copy, right? Like how fast you might deliver your product, or guarantees and things like that. And that's something that Alexa could also pick up when scanning essentially the system. And the final thing, of course, is when it comes to the brand, right? Like and this is just fundamental. This, you should be doing it regardless. When it comes to Alexa, another thing that they also do is they're starting to check how much market share your brand owns within a specific keyword, and you need to also track that. This is similar to conversion. So what I recommend you to do as an exercise, keep monitoring on a weekly or monthly basis. What is your brand share on a given keyword or niche? Because that's also a big contributor when it comes to recommending. Now, another thing as well, this very quickly in terms of how you can leverage in terms of value. You also want to kind of reverse engineer Alexa to optimize your brand at the end of the day, right? Because something that we're seeing, right, is Alexa at the end of the day, and this is something you can even start kind of playing with if you have potentially the device, right? You want to kind of reverse engineer what are kind of the questions Alexa may ask around a specific product. Let's say you ask a technicality around a specific product, right? Regarding delivery, regarding materials, regarding X, Y, and Z. What you also can do, right, is essentially to make sure that you are as Alexa friendly as possible. And this is similar to what you will do for Rufus. That's why, to some extent, some principles stay there. Just as you will do questions to Rufus and see what they will come back and optimize your listing. In this case, by essentially doing that with the shopper and also within Alexa ecosystem, you want to start asking questions, getting some ideas. So what is the back and forth you get with Alexa, and make sure you are actually optimizing your brand to essentially be considered as high as possible when it comes to the Alexa ecosystem, you know. And the final thing is advertising. This is another thing we're doing as well. Also consider that the Alexa shopping agent that you see within the when you're shopping as a consumer in your desktop or your phone, this is something that is also being heavily connected with the voice command as well. So why do I mention this? This is because at the end of the day, Amazon wants to centralize everything that has to do with Alexa, right? They want it to be your personal shopper. So what we're doing on the voice side of things, there's certain things you can do from an advertising point of view. So essentially, you can get the most exposure as possible. So, for example, for sponsored products, a strategy that they were doing is, let's say you want your product to be recommended by Alexa and by voice, or either by in this case the agent. What something that we're doing is we're running PPC campaigns on exact format for a specific keywords that we know would potentially be a sentence. So for example, here's example I'm putting here, best, and this could be best phone case or best whatever you can think of. And we started to run some campaigns. These campaigns, but at the end of the day, this is to create signals. Don't expect to make crazy amount of sales or anything. Is we're trying to game the system. We try to give signals. Okay, we're running some traffic here. And by the way, you will be surprised how many people when they shop on Amazon, they do that best phone case or best monitor or best mouse. They put that on the search bar. So you can also run PPC on that, and that could give the signal. So when somebody talk to Alexa or ask that question within the Alexa new shopping assistant, your products start to come up. The second thing is sponsor display. What we also do, and you can also do this with DSP, essentially you can run essentially campaigns based on reordering and repeat consumers. Remember, as I was mentioning before, a big signal is a repeat purchase. Okay, so something that you want to do is essentially create these kind of campaigns that focus aggressively on people that usually reorder products, so you can increase your subscribe and save, and as a signal, get more recommended by Alexa. The third element is audio ads. This is something that you can also do. You can run actually ads within Alexa, and we're seeing those ads potentially might also be reflecting on the Alexa on the desktop or mobile phone. So that's something we're testing as well. And the final one is Amazon Marketing Cloud. So with Amazon Marketing Cloud, to conclude with this step, this is where I really think you can get the most potential exposure within the new Alexa universe, if we want to give it a name. Because now with the Amazon Marketing Cloud, we're already seeing some of the queries that are specifically only to Alexa kind of metrics, right? And Alexa devices. So that's something that we're also starting to test. Again, it's very early because some of these new Alexa kind of implementation are very recent, but we believe that's also going to be something that people should be looking in terms of testing. So I guess to finalize and start bringing this full circle, so you can start thinking how I'm going to gamify Alexa as a whole on the whole universe. The first one is the voice purchase, right? So you can essentially reverse engineer, how many, which are the keywords and what is the kind of engagement you have to get to be recommended. The second one is to start getting the Amazon choice badge, which is already explained kind of high level how you can do that. You want to increase the subscribe and save enrollment. So Alexa as an ecosystem considers your product as the biggest kind of purchase pro in the whole market. And the fifth element, which again, this is fundamental and it's not specific to Alexa, is a whole, is making sure your brand a kind of exposure and market share control stays as consistent as possible. So if you do that, and this is kind of a 90 plan that we're actually doing across some of our brands already. We are expecting to start getting as much exposure as possible within Alexa, because we think that's really what is potentially going to be the future. I mean, for a reason, Rufus was removed, and for a reason, we're seeing Alexa also being brought from a prompting point of view. So I really believe, and this is a prediction the other day, and a lot of these things that we are testing and presenting here is a prediction, is that they're essentially unifying the whole Alexa kind of ecosystem. And one, in this case, whatever you do by voice is going to talk to whatever you do on the prompt, in this case window, and vice versa. And you need to understand how to optimize your products so you get essentially as recommended as possible. So that's pretty much everything from me. I know I gave you a lot of kind of some of the things were a bit technical, but by the way, we're gonna send you all this presentation on recording. But this is something that I'm very confident that is gonna be very impactful for those that do it correctly. Again, this is an evolving situation, so this is on the making, as I mentioned. But I'm gonna make sure as we keep evolving some of these, we also publish some of the case studies we're preparing. So if you have any more questions, drop them below. As I mentioned, we're going to answer them toward the end of the webinar. And if you want to then have a call with us or explore how we can help you with that, feel free to scan the QR code on the screen. So that's everything from me. So great. So I think now we're going to jump to, I think, Amy, you're next, isn't it?
I'm next. Oh, geez. So,
Let's go.
first of all, I want to say hello to everybody who's in the participant chat. I've had a couple of people say hello. Good to see you. And some people who have heard me talk about this topic before, I have my Rufus listing optimization thing that I do. And some people have heard me talk about it before, and Jeff asked today, he said, Amy, does the death of Rufus apply to your amazing at home optimization process? And I just want to say that Rufus is really not dead. It's not. It just got promoted. Amazon renamed Rufus to Alexa for shopping, and the new version is actually more capable, not less. And, I think Azoma's here on this webinar today. They did a presentation the other day. Oh, Abigail is here from Azoma. Great. Max did a presentation the other day about what are the differences between Rufus and Alexa for shopping? And really, there's only 2% difference in what each chatbot says, like 2% difference in what it recommends. It's really not a huge difference. If anything, I've noticed that it's a little bit more powerful than my chats with Rufus, and it's given me even more in-depth details, and it doesn't push back as hard when I push it. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about that process and how you can get more data out. So let me share my screen. And if you've heard me talk about this before, I have covered this quite a bit lately because it is a hot topic. So let me see. And especially hot for today's presentation because, we're talking about how Rufus is dead today. So I'm going to hit the present button. All right. Can you guys see that all right? We're good?
Perfect. Yeah.
All right, a lot of you guys are optimizing your listings for AI, right? You're optimizing them, but your process is not working. You're not really seeing results. So you paid for a listing optimization or you used someone's plugin tool and you didn't see any results. It didn't change your sales. Nothing actually happened. And you're wondering, or maybe it moved the needle for a little bit, but then you just kind of leveled out and you're wondering, like, what could you do differently? So I have a process that I've been using that we are seeing incredible results with, and I'm going to tell you why you're maybe not seeing results with your process. So a little bit about me. I've been selling on Amazon since 2007, a long time. I started my own private label brand in 2017. I invented a product. I exited that brand in 2024. I come from a tech background. I was working in cybersecurity for the military before I did this. So, and to get extra money to pay for my molds when I invented my product, I used to do copywriting on Fiverr. And in the beginning, Amazon did not have in 2017 when I was doing a lot of copywriting, Amazon did not have a lot of documents on the A9 algorithm. So I reverse engineered Google's algorithm to learn the differences in A9. So I've been messing with ranking and relevance and all these things for many, many years. And I love this stuff, right? So I've written and optimized hundreds of listings across multiple categories myself, like personally. When you order a listing from my agency, I'm the one who writes it. I don't give it to some, person. I don't give it to another agency. A lot of agencies white label. I don't do that. I actually personally write your listing. And what I'm finding lately with a lot of the listings that I'm optimizing is that the brand, the core of the brand is wrong. It's actually stopping your conversion. So either your brand colors are wrong, your fonts are wrong that you're using, things are inconsistent, and a lot of people don't realize that all of this plays into buyer psychology. So there's a lot that I can help you with, but today I want to talk to you about how do you do proper listing optimization and why is it so powerful today. So you're all being told the same thing. You're supposed to optimize for AI everywhere you sell. Your Shopify store, your TikTok, your Google search, your website, Amazon, everywhere, right? But People are telling me, Amy, I paid this expensive agency, or I paid for this, or I did this, or I ran this script, and it made no difference. I don't see any difference in my sales. I'm not getting more conversions on my website. I don't know what's going on, right? So the reason why is because you have to ask yourself, what are you optimizing for AI? If you're taking your current listing as is and you are throwing that into an optimizer, you are not identifying what is broken about that listing. If you are using someone else's plugin or funnel and they are taking your existing listing and your competitors' listings and reviews and keywords, all those are good data points. But you guys, for the first time in history, we now have access to the conversations that customers are having with AI about our products. We have never had that before. All we had before was a keyword list, some search query performance data, maybe some ads data, whatever. But that's all we had. Now we can actually find out, how do customers make buying decisions when it comes to our products? This is the key. So we can change things like we've never changed them before. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about, how to do that today. Okay. So I want you to stop copying your competitors. This screenshot on the right here is from my friend Jay. I'm actually in his AI Build an AI Employee Challenge right now. I'm in day 2 of his challenge. It's awesome. So I'm not picking on Jay. I love this prompt. It's a great prompt to get more images, better images created. But if you're taking existing data, your competitors' existing data, and you're just piling it all in there and going, oh, well, give me the best image stack for this, but you're ignoring the things that may be broken in those images in the first place, and the data you now have access to, you will not see a change in your sales. You might see a little bump, but it's just going to level right back off. It's not going to make a lasting change. So you want to stop asking AI to be the expert based on bad data. You want to stop prompting AI to take your current listing reviews and competitors and generate images. You want to start asking why the customer buys or doesn't, and what is broken in your current conversion strategy. If you fix that, you get incredible results. So remember, AI is going to amplify whatever you got right now. I redo a lot of people's Shopify sites. That's one of our core things that we've been doing at Amazing at Home lately. We've been bringing people to Shopify, redoing their sites. So many people are paying for meta ads, but they do not have a conversion funnel properly set up on their e-commerce website. So they're paying for ads on Google and Meta, and they're not converting. Why? Because there is no conversion funnel for that customer to follow. Customer gets to that website and they go, why should I trust this? What's special about this? This isn't for me. And they bounce, right? So you just paid for all those clicks and they didn't lead to sales. As it is, Shopify costs $40 to $60 in ads to convert one customer. So we don't want to screw that up, right? So fix your messaging. You don't want the wrong message to just get amplified to bigger reach. Don't pay for more traffic if your source is not wrong, or is wrong, excuse me. So conversion should be your true goal. Now that you have access to all this incredible data, conversion should be your goal. People make the purchase. AI does not. And even if an AI agent is purchasing for you, like Alexa is doing now, that agent knows the person. So let's take this example of my juice cleanse client, right? She sells juice cleanses and they're like in 6-packs. And when I ran this process on her listing, AI told me, well, it's very expensive. That's what customers don't like about it. It's too expensive. And I was like, okay, well, what is it compared to? And it didn't really have a comparison for me. Her current images showed no comparison. So the AI had nothing to compare it against. It just said, well, the reviews are saying customers think it's expensive. So what did we do? I asked it, I said, okay, well, this is actually compared to a raw juice cleanse. It's actually not expensive. A raw juice cleanse is about $12 and this is $5. So yeah, that's the difference. But AI didn't have that context to recommend her. So what did we do? We took all that data, once we learned AI was pushing back and telling people not to buy because it was expensive and people were complaining that it was expensive, we created an image comparing it to a raw juice cleanse for $12 a bottle at ours $5 a bottle. And that changed the AI's mind. So now the AI says, when we pull up that, hey, well, how does this compare? And it says, well, actually, it's inexpensive compared to a raw juice cleanse, which is what you want, right? You guys wouldn't believe how many people I run this process with, and AI tells me not to buy their product. It says, actually, you shouldn't buy this. This one is better for you. So if you're not understanding why people wouldn't buy your product and why they would choose your competitors instead, and you're not representing that in your images or defending that in your images, in your content, AI is just going to keep telling people not to buy. So you can optimize your existing listing that maybe one of my favorite listing optimization tools, shout out to ZonGuru. I love them. They have incredible listing optimization tools. If my listing optimization score in ZonGuru says that I'm at a, incredible score compared to my competitors, but I don't fix these things, it's not going to make a difference. Okay? So that is what matters. So how do you do this, right? You want to use a few tools because you can ask Alexa, formerly Rufus, all the questions that you want. And you can ask ChatGPT, to help you with that. And that's what I'm going to tell you today. Now, you can use whatever AI you want. You don't have to use ChatGPT. I use Claude for this now, but I started with ChatGPT and I teach with ChatGPT because most people know it, right? But you can use whatever you want. But Alexa can actually combined with ChatGPT can be very, very powerful because you're going to ask some initial questions to Alexa about the product, but then ChatGPT or your chosen AI is going to give you additional questions to ask. And that is where the power comes in. That is where, on average, you guys, I get over 100 pages of data. 100 pages of conversion optimization data from Alexa on average, at least 100 pages in my questioning sequence. So this is a big questioning sequence. I'm not just asking Alexa a few questions. I'm asking a lot of questions, but the results are absolutely incredible. So I have one client, we optimized his listing about 7 months ago using this process. And before optimizations, his sales were down over 40% year over year. Alexa actually told us, this was Rufus at the time, actually told us he was in the wrong category, the wrong subcategory. During this process, we learned he was in the wrong subcategory. We actually learned also what his product was priced in the high and the premium positioning, and he wasn't backing that up with reasons to pay more. So there was no difference that the customer could see compared to the Chinese competitors of a cheaper motorcycle backpack, right? So we fixed that, and now his sales are up 56% year over year. He used to have 15% of the market share. Now he has 25%. His tacos went from 35% down to 16%. Across the board, I have another friend who's been doing this with me from the very beginning, and he's been adding things, and we've been sending things back and forth. He has a huge catalog, like 5 different brands. He said his sales have doubled, and they just keep going up and up. So I'm telling you, if you're using some automated process and you're not seeing results, this is why. If you optimized your images using some automated process and you're not seeing these kinds of results, this is why. You have to focus on the data you now have access to, and this is how you access it. Okay? So remember, AI reads more than text. It reads your images, your reviews, your Q&A, your A+ content, additional details in your listing, every little detail. You guys fill everything out, all of the little things. Amazon has changed a lot of that stuff in the back end. Pull your category listings report. Use this process to have AI help you fill everything out because AI is going to pull from that. And AI also uses ad data, especially Amazon's AI, Cosmo and Alexa. They use ad data. They have great DSP data from across the internet. They have great customer conversion information, and they use that. So you're going to get a lot access to a lot of data. And remember that AI forms its own conclusions, right? So we used to have keywords. So you have to understand that keywords are different than customer and AI choices, right? We need to make sure that we're using context now because we're not searching with just keywords anymore. Amazon is now forcing Alexa as the search result sometimes. So if you type a specific question into Amazon's search bar, Alexa will now pull up. And the product results that show up are different than what you get on the regular Amazon page. So it's really important to pay attention to this because, as I mentioned before, if you weren't recommended by Alexa before, you're not going to get recommended now just because you ran an automation process and optimized your listing. You have to optimize for what the customer cares about, the questions they're going to be asking, the buying decision that they're going to make, because whether they're asking directly to the search bar on Amazon or they're asking ChatGPT, you want to be the answer. Okay. So remember, this was 2 years ago at the Prosper Show. I talked about this. I just put an image into ChatGPT and asked it to describe it. And it described everything about the image. It knew this was glass. It knew the tops were silicone. It knew the straws were reusable. All I did was put the image in. This is how, to the level, this was 2 years ago. This is the level that AI understands and can read your images, your A plus content, everything. Okay. So everything is signal. AI is connecting the dots, right? This drawing here, or the image here on the right, is an example of how Cosmo and Rufus work together, right? It works the same way with Cosmo and Alexa, right? Where if they know that the client is pregnant, they know the customer is pregnant, and because of other things that she's purchased, and she bought a slippery resistant shoe, now it says, oh, well, if they're pregnant, we should recommend slip resistant shoes to them. Well, if you're the seller of a slip resistant shoe and you don't understand this about your avatars, how might you get recommended or how might your competitors get recommended instead of you? So it's important, okay? Most listings underperform because a lot of people don't update their listings. They just update them once and just leave them. They still have bad images. They focus on SEO, but they don't focus on conversion. So you've got that high listing optimization score, but you haven't focused on any of your conversion stuff. So you're just trying to sell the same thing with the same message and it's not converting. And sellers don't know what to fix. So they just keep spending money on all these different things. And then they hopefully find a better process and they get to get their listings fixed. But a lot of times people spend a lot of money and they don't see any changes. You guys would not believe how many clients come to me who've spent thousands of dollars with agencies and they don't get anywhere. They have not seen any results. And I take one look at their listing, I run this process a little bit, and it's incredible what's missing. Okay, so fix your process and get results. All right, you want to diagnose your conversion problems, leverage Alexa's intelligence, deploy AI strategically, pinpoint the exact changes you need, and build a repeatable system. All right, your optimization sequence matters. So first, you're going to learn how AI understands a product. Second, you're going to learn what customers care about. Third, you're going to understand where they don't match. Fourth, you're going to add in your keyword and SQP data because keywords still do matter, but in the bigger picture, right? You want to add them to the equation, not lead with them. Use AI to process all of this data because you're going to get a lot of data, and then optimize your images and your text accordingly. Fill in all the blanks, as I mentioned. So this is my 6-step process. First, you gather all of your inputs. You have a lot of inputs. Then you're going to run the master prompt inside of ChatGPT or your chosen AI. Then you're going to ask Alexa the targeted questions that you get from that AI. Then you're going to design your gallery images. I always design my gallery images first before I write any copy. Then I design my A plus content and Q&A. Q&A is now really important. So you can find out from Alexa the targeted Q&A you should include in your premium A plus content, the questions and answers you should include. And then you're going to write your listing copy and fill in the details. Okay? All the details as I mentioned before. So this is the initial questions you're going to ask Alexa. This is before you even go to ChatGPT or your chosen AI. You're going to go into Alexa. You're going to say, what is this product for? What do people like about this product? What don't people like about this product? What are people buying instead of this product? And how do people choose this? Why do people choose this product over other alternatives? So this is very powerful. If you guys want to try this yourself today, just try these 5 questions and find out what you learn. Do that. And then think about the fact that you can get so many more questions to ask Alexa, okay? So here's another thing. a lot of people said, "Hey, Amy, I heard you talk about this." And I went to Alexa and I asked her to write me a new title and bullet points. And she told me she's just a shopping assistant. She can't help me do that. Well, it's because you have to follow a process. You need to, reason I'm asking the AI to come up with more questions for AI is because it has that context, right? It knows how to talk to the AI, it knows how to frame questions from a shopper's perspective. So that's why I do that. So you really do, you can't just go to Alexa and be like, rewrite my listing. It won't work, right? You have to follow this process. That's why I teach this process in this way. Okay. Then you're going to give it a long prompt. So once you've asked those first 5 questions and you've gotten all of your data, you have your screenshot of your live listing, your product title, your bullet points, your product description, your current gallery images. I teach people to use a product information form, keyword data, answers to those 5 foundational questions. Then you're going to ask the AI to give you additional questions. Now, of course, on today's webinar, we only have a few minutes, so I'm not going to give you my whole process. That would be crazy, but this gives you a good idea. This gives you a good start. This is what it looks like. You give it this input, you get more questions to ask, you go back, ask those questions, you feed them back into the AI, and you will get incredible details. Okay, so attach all your prep files, everything, and then put it inside of there. But what additional questions can you get? I usually get 25 to 30 additional questions. So in the case of the Juice Cleanse client, why do customers buy juice cleanse packs instead of individual functional juices? Well, she's selling her juice cleanse in a pack. So you've given AI this context. It now can give you the exact questions you should ask. I would have never thought to ask this question myself, but this was key data. This is what I needed to know. If you just ran an automated process where you're pulling customer reviews and you're pulling competitor data and you're optimizing your images, you are not going to get this data. And therefore, you won't be the one that people go, "Oh, how did they know? I'm going to copy their images." I want you to be the one who gets copied. Okay, so I'm not going to read all these questions. You guys get the point. But objections: what concerns do customers have before buying a juice cleanse? Wow, I think you'd want to know that, right? Comparison logic: how do customers compare juice cleanses versus cold pressed juices? This helped us with our comparison image. Ingredient and formula understanding: which ingredients do customers care about most? This helped us with the images where we called out certain ingredients. That was key, right? Usage, timing, and lifestyle: how do customers typically use it in their daily routine? This helped us with lifestyle images so people would feel connected to it, right? Results and expectations framing: what results do customers commonly expect from a juice cleanse? So anyway, we're going to move on, you guys. You get it. You get lots of questions, right? Then you're going to even push Alexa. During this process, I teach to push Alexa and get even more information. So I got really, really great information. Like, you're in the wrong category. You have the wrong, like this client I just did told me she had the wrong sizes between her images and what she put on Amazon. So we fixed that, right? Inaccurate dimensions, contradictory information. It told me exactly what was wrong and exactly what I needed to fix. So, but that only came from pushing it beyond these questions. So anyway, you guys, this is a lot of data you're going to get, and you're going to use AI strategically to just put all your data in there and know exactly how to fill in all the blanks and what images to put out there, all of that, right? So even top sellers misalignment, I'm going to go through really fast because I think I'm almost out of time here. So think about this, like the juice cleanse client, we learned that the keyword she was using, weight loss, actually the conversion optimization said the keyword was bloating. That's what people were searching for. So, and that's how people were using that in their conversation. So we had to change that, right? So the backpack client, we learned so many things. The thing was, customers buy clarity. We didn't have, like, we had all the right SEO, but we didn't have why this bag exists, who it's designed for, why it's better for this specific use case. We needed differentiation to be visual and not implied. So we weren't calling out the rider specific features. So we fixed that. And this process is what taught us. There was no trust. So we made sure that we said this is designed for riders, and we actually pulled out the reviews from those top reviews, and we also called out a 1-year warranty. In this last listing optimization I did for another client, It actually told me that her product was superior in all of these ways to any competitor, but she wasn't calling out any of those things on her listing. None of them. So this process taught us and showed us how to fix it. If I would have used an automated sequence, I would have not got the same results, okay? So you guys get the point. I'm beating the dead horse here. I'm moving on, right? So we made a lot of really great changes in this listing. The results, remember, this was a client that was down 40%, and now he's up 56% year over year, and we're using this same process to grow his new product launch. So this is a universal strategy you can use across platforms. Once you have this data, you're not going to want to leave your TikTok the same. You're not going to want to leave your Shopify the same. You can change everything now that you know why customers convert. If you're not on Amazon, you're only on Shopify, or you're only on TikTok, go run this process on one of your competitors. You will get so much great information. Okay, so anyway, I can help you with this. I can optimize your listings. I can review your listing for free. I can help your brand grow. You can just go to amazingathome.com. I charge $2,500 to do this for people, and I'm the one who does it, but I am completely booked, you guys. I am booked. So if you want to learn this process, I opened up a workshop for this. It's a 2.5 hour workshop, shows you all the prompts, the whole process, everything, and you can get that at amazingathome.com/LOW for listing optimization workshop. And yeah, some really incredible stuff. So if you want a free listing review, let me take a look at your review. You just can scan this QR code here. You can ask me any question at amazingathome.com. I have a little Ask Amy form right on the main homepage. Ask me any question, reach out. It goes straight to me, and I will let you know how and if I can help you. And finally, join my free community. I have a WhatsApp chat where we just kind of connect every day and talk about this stuff. So join that, and would love to have you guys there. That's all I got. I hope I didn't go over too much.
Oh, that was awesome. Thank you, Amy. And for everybody watching, I mean, Amy is the best when it comes to that. So you're really in the fence, so trying to figure out, and you need somebody to give you the right strategies. Like you won't be disappointed. I can tell you that. Thank you so
Thank you,
much. That
Vincenzo.
was very insightful. I appreciate it. Awesome. So now, by the way, any questions to Amy? We just saw some coming in. Like then, Amy, maybe you can answer typing, and then we can go over those questions at the end as well.
Yeah,
The webinar.
I got
Okay.
it.
Thank you. Okay. Awesome. Kamal, you're next. Hey, then, bro.
Awesome. Doing pretty good. Thanks for asking, and excited to be here once again. And a lot of familiar faces, not in the,
Yeah.
not just in the panelist, also in the participants. There's a lot of familiar faces, and a lot of you are already using listing optimization.ai. I speak with you on weekly, office hour calls. So I'm not gonna dive too much deeper. I'm gonna be super quick. Give you some updates, give you some nuggets that you guys can use when optimizing your images for Alexa. So I think my session today is going to be, I think it's a good piggyback right after the Amy's presentation, because I'm also going to be talking about a little bit about Alexa and the images. So I'm going to start sharing my full screen. There you go. Okay, so here's a listing. Okay, so I was looking for, so the Alexa was recommending, can it be wall mounted? So this is, 27-inch monitor, and people are asking, can this be wall mounted? I did search for that keyword somewhere on this. I searched for wall, and I could not find anywhere on the listing itself. So you see wall mounted over here because I asked Alexa, but if I keep going, it's not mentioned anywhere in the product title, bullet points, you know even in the product description. But when I look at the images over here, there's one specific image which is talking about, wall mount feature over here. So then I asked Alexa, and this question was, recommended by Alexa itself. So I clicked on that, and it is giving that image as a reference that it is wall mounted. And it's also looking at the reviews of, like customers have mentioned it has 4 screw holes in the back of the mounting, for mounting with the monitor arm. So it's not mentioned in the text of this listing, but it's mentioned in the images, and it's also looking at the customer reviews. So it's super important for you to optimize your images for Alexa. formerly known as Rufus. So if some of you are, I still get that question a lot, like, hey Kamal, does Rufus or Cosmo, like, does it read my images? The answer is yes. And I've seen many listings where the image optimization is helping them get optimized for Rufus. So like I said in the beginning, I'm all in for using AI, which helps in the bottom line, and which removes all the noise and focus on the signal. So I know there are, like Amy was mentioning, that there are a lot of softwares, a lot of workflows which are not moving the needle. So I just wanted to share like what I'm going to share with you right next. These are some of the screenshots. Some people have said that they use this listing optimization AI workflow that I'm going to share with you, that they saw sales increase. The products which were sitting, and now they have started selling. Like some of them are saying it has set me free. Like after a long while I hated content creation. Like this is what people are saying, and these are like very recent screenshots that I'm sharing with you. Like, hey Kamal, thank you for creating like this awesome software. And then there's like another one, great job on this one. So I keep sharing these things on LinkedIn, because what Amy was saying, it's absolutely right, because there are workflows out there, there are distractions out there which do not move the needle. And here are some of the results that that we get when we run this workflow that I'm going to share with you right now. Like in this one, we did a split test, $80,000 extra sales, and there's like so many of those. Like, hey, this listing optimization, the AI app is pretty darn good over here. Like, and this is the best tool I have ever used so far for product images. And I can go on and on. Like overall, this is the most valuable tool I've used to the date, that I will share with you in next few minutes. Over here, like, there are some screenshots. Like before I met you, I was looking at selling my Amazon business. And now I'm having so much fun working with you, your team, and your software. Like, if I was 40 years younger, I would come and work for you. This is the kind of feedback that people are sharing. Like, this is, like, this is one of the idea that Amy gave me, like, hey, Kamal, this should be in your workflow. So this is one of our clients. So like, hey, Kamal, I'm loving your software, but can I do this XY? Like this small little thing from Amy's process, which we already have. And Amy brought that to me, a long time ago. So we already have that. So how do you optimize your Amazon images with one click for Rufus or Alexa? So I'm going to share that with you once in. So let's take this listing as an example. So I'm going to copy that ASIN. I come to maybe listing optimization.ai. So this is the software that you guys know of already. So what you can do, you can click on, you can choose your own competitors if you want. Otherwise, AI will automatically choose it for you. Or you can also choose your custom branding. If you have a special font, sub font, like giving you the full control, and you can use that. You can also choose your competitors and click generate. So what AI is going to do for you, it's going to look at your product, copy your images, your reviews, also search for the main keywords on Amazon, look at all the competitors that you have. It's going to look at their listing images, read their images, copy reviews, and it's going to come up with the top pain points, customer, sentiments, the decision-making factors. What is something that they, the objections that you need to overcome as a seller before the sale happens. So it's going to build customer avatars, like also everything that an agency would do. This software is going to do that. It takes about 10 minutes to do that research. And in the end, as a result, what you're going to get, images which are optimized for Rufus, which are optimized for high click-through rate, high conversion rate. Let me show you. So it's reading all those reviews for different competitors. It's like it's doing. So I'm going to let it run, but I'll come over. I'll show you the images after, like how it looks like. But all of these images which will be generated, they're coming from the winning frameworks over the years that I've used. Like this framework is in the software. 9 days, $2,000 extra sales. One with the hang tag and some props, 69% sales went up in 30 days. Over here, one with the product packaging, $10,000 extra revenue, 20% sales went up in 8 weeks. Over here, 20% extra sales just by changing the main images. Over here, like 171% sales went up when this was optimized for the holiday season. For a lifestyle image, 98% sales went up. Sometimes you cannot run managed experiments, so we have to do manual testing. So these are lots and lots of experiments that we have done. We have trained our AI on, over here, there's like another holiday image. So all of those images that you're going to see, it's coming from those winning frameworks. And once the campaign is generated, this is what it's going to look like. So you can generate, so remember like this framework, one with the side panel, it's over here, like it's coming from those winning frameworks. And you can choose any template. You click on just this image and choose from one of those winning templates which have been proven to work. You just choose the template and your main image for high CTR would be ready. Now, since we're talking about Alexa, you can go to Alexa Shopping. This listing, its image coverage was only 23% before, and after the campaign has been generated, the new images have 54% coverage for Alexa. If I look over here, the product specs. So for example, the images before were not covering this feature. For example, how big is the bottle? And how long does 6-ounce spray usually last? So it was not answered before in the images, it was answered in the text, but now it's like partially answered in the images. This question, is this a true aerosol spray or a pump spray? Give me 1 second. So for this question, like, is this a true aerosol spray or pump spray? So this one is answered. So I can click on this one. I can see which image is showing that. So infographic 3 shows a yellow twist lock nozzle and spray mechanism. So let's go take a look at infographic 3. So over here, like this is my infographic 3 image. Yeah, so this is talking about twist lock nozzle easy grip. So it's optimized for that question. So for example, there's a lot of time, if you look at all these images, sometimes AI hallucinate, it doesn't know which reference image to take a look at. So we have this amazing tool that a lot of our sellers use. You can take a look at the reference images. Over here, you're seeing the backside of the product. The reason why you're seeing the backside of the product, because AI has automatically chosen this angle. And you can easily change the reference image by clicking here from it. You can pick any other listing image from your listing. And you can also upload your own reference image, because if you don't have good images on your listing, you can choose the right angle. For example, if the AI was saying like, I need, let's say for backpack example, like, you want to be at the airport at this, at this scene. So you can take that particular picture and upload your own picture. So that's how you can generate images which are high quality, which are converting, and which are optimized for Rufus. Over here, like AI also scans your competitor's average text for Rufus optimization and competitor images. So average competitor, for the category, like 39% is the average images readiness. But this listing with one click, 54% now. So there's lots of questions. Every category has 4 or 5 questions. You will see so over here, I see an opportunity that, okay, I need to cover these questions somewhere in the listing. So I can come back and I can edit that. For example, if I wanted to cover something, I can click on add SPF 50 badge, right? Badge. So I can edit and add those missing things from Lex optimization into this listing optimization.ai. So you will also see things that are true to your listing over here, and things which we found in other competitors, but we did not find a proof that it's also true for your listing. So you can take a look what your competitors' top selling points are and see if you want to add them in or not. So that's your creative strategy. That's your Alexa shopping. This is your reviews analysis, pain points, positive themes, feature requests. What are customers' primary motivations? What are their critical decision-making factors? All sort of good stuff. So this is how you can optimize for your listing images for Rufus with one click. I know this was short; it was not super organized, but you can always go to listingoptimization.ai, get 25 images for free, and yeah, so get your Rufus readiness images in about 10 minutes. Yeah, that's all I have. Yes.
Thank you, Gamal. That's awesome. Thank you for that, for sharing. Very insightful, as usual, Thank you. Great. So Very quick one. Next one we have Alina. Alina, quick question. John has to potentially have to jump after her, in the next couple of 20 minutes. So is it fine if he goes first and then you go? Is that fine for you? Alina, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry, I was muted.
Is that fine
thanks,
if
Al-
John goes
I,
first?
I have to jump too, but
Okay. So
You-
if
no,
that's
go
the
ahead,
case,
go ahead.
I got
Go
I
ahead,
got a
John.
little bit of time, Alina, so go for it. As long as we
okay,
stick in time, I'll be okay. I shifted a lot in
okay, then it's fine.
the next meeting, so go for it, Alina. Yeah.
No worries. You
Mine
go,
mine
Alina.
is no longer than 10 minutes.
No
Awesome.
worries. Thank you.
Okay, so I go?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I think this is the right one. Yes?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm going to try to fit in the 10 minutes as promised. My name is Alina. I'm the founder of AZRank. We have been in the industry for quite some time now, since 2017. We help people launch new products or improve their ranking or maintain their ranking or just grow or scale on several marketplaces. And today I am going to speak to you about our very good old friend, the keyword. The keyword which is so often mentioned and talked about in all our conversations all over Amazon and e-commerce. But most recently, the AI has changed some perspectives around it. So today I'm going to try to make you think about some concepts, which all of them were already touched by Vincenzo and Amy and Kamal as well, because this is the world we all live in. So the keyword is the brief right now, because when you say, okay, this is my main keyword for my listing, or these are my keywords for my listing, it sounds so simple, but I think this is becoming one of the most important marketplace, one of the most important shifts, in the marketplace ranking. For years, whenever we speak about ranking, we mostly talked about search volume, keyword position, conversion rate, sales velocity, relevance. All of that still matters. It's very important nowadays. But with AI becoming more and more integrated into the Amazon search, TikTok shop, and all the other marketplaces, the algorithm is not only reading what your listing says, it's trying to understand something deeper. What is the shopping really asking for? What problems are they trying to solve? Does your listing answer their questions better than other options out there? This is why I say the keyword is the brief, because every keyword tells you what the shopper needs to believe before they buy. And there has been a lot of talk about this Rufus and its death. Well, I don't believe it died. I just called it graduated, basically, because Rufus was here with us for, I don't know, 1 year, 2 years maybe, where Alexa has like 10 years of history. Many shoppers didn't even notice it. And if you guys read my newsletter, The Ranking Pill, I have spoken about it and presented some case studies that we did with our community. Still, a vast majority of shoppers, even until today, did not use Rufus, or just use it, for what gifts to buy, like an advice, not going too deep into analyzing the listing. Some did, but not to a large extent. My personal opinion is that this was one of the reasons that Amazon decided to combine these two with Alexa. But the overall point is the idea behind Rufus did not disappear. Amazon simply moved the AI shopping layer closer to where customers already are, which is the search experience, right? Because right now, it's not a chatbot tucked into a corner. It lives inside the main search bar. Basically, you cannot miss it from the page. it doesn't even, I mean, this is the most important part for the sellers, basically, because it doesn't really matter whether Amazon calls it Rufus or Alexa or whatever. The principle is the same, basically. Amazon wants to understand the intent behind the search and match that intent with the product most likely to satisfy it. That's our goal as sellers. So the question for everybody in the room is not how do I optimize for Rufus. We have been spoken about that for years, and still nobody managed to get specific products recommended by Rufus, because that was the whole concept of it. Behind the scenes, I think it was just supposed to recommend something, but it was supposed to be learned to learn about the shopper's behaviors. So going back, how do I optimize for Rufus is not the question that I would ask. I would ask, how do I optimize for whatever AI that reads the buyer intent? And that takes us back to keywords, because keywords at the current point, June of 2026 are still the clearest intent signal we have. Most people go on Amazon or on Google or whatever other marketplace and search for a keyword before talking to Alexa or things like that. So what I want to show here is a practical example of these keywords and how important they are in this whole environment. This was a product that we worked on. It was a new product launch in a very competitive beauty niche, and the main keyword for the product has around 91,000 monthly searches, which is good, a very strong keyword. And most people would look at this keyword and say, okay, this is the biggest opportunity, let's target this immediately. We're going to rank on this keyword, we're going to bid high in PPC, we're going to do all the things that we need to do, and then we're going to rank high for it. But that is not always the smartest move, because if the product is new, the algorithm does not yet trust it for that keyword. Instead of starting with the biggest keyword, we started with the smaller long tail keywords. Some of them had almost no search volume, but they were very relevant for the product. It basically told people what the product was, right? Very relevant. And that matters, because by day 12, we had already reached number 1 on 2 long tail keywords. And only on day 13, we added the main keyword to the campaign. And when I say campaign, I say ranking campaign. What we do with EasyRank, we drive traffic to your listing and have people purchase your product in order to build momentum. So because of the listing had already built relevance, sale history, and trust signals from the previous 12 days, the main keyword moved much faster from basically nowhere to top 20 within days. And what I want to emphasize with this is that you don't always win by attacking the biggest keywords first. You win by building trust around the intent. And intent means relevance nowadays in the Amazon language. Again, this is especially important in the AI-driven search environment that we all live in right now, because the algorithm needs to understand where your product belongs before it rewards you at scale. Like Amy was saying, wrong category, wrong attributes for your listing, that all can hurt. And if those are wrong, that also can impact your listing on a bunch of other levels. So when we build a ranking campaign, we're not just thinking, okay, what keywords has the most search volume? We are thinking what keyword sequence basically teaches the algorithm what the product is. And this is something that I want you to take away today. Keep this question in your head for whatever you do with your listings, even if it's a new one, even if it's an old one. Now, nowadays, this does not stop at Amazon. Something very interesting that we've seen recently, and this is quite new, is that, these intent signals travel across platforms. And, most Amazon sellers are playing with TikTok Shop nowadays. And TikTok Shop, it has been a challenge to rank on, because, it kind of impossible. It used to be because, people just scroll through content, videos, and so on. But there is a way. For example, we took some keywords from Amazon search query performance. And also, I very much like Product Opportunity Explorer, these two combined. It's very valuable data. It tells us which keywords have real buyer behavior behind them, click share, conversion share, purchase intent, all that. So we tested using, basically we used Amazon Keyword Intelligence and moved it to TikTok Shop. We took a list of keywords and added them to the new 250 character search keyword field, which exists in TikTok Shop. And it was the same product category, the same, same buyer buying the same product, just different platforms. And there was a huge move. We saw movement from position 30 to position 15 in just a few days without a single purchase. I mean, just the organic ones. We didn't do any other purchases from our end or any other pushing, just from adding those keywords, because the listing itself before this field was added, had no other place to add keywords except title, bullets, and description, right? This test is still running. I will be back probably in one of our next week's newsletter with results, but what we are seeing right now is absolutely fabulous. After we also added some purchases, the ranking went like through the roof. The opportunity, what I want to show here, is not just to rank on Amazon. The opportunity is to understand what the buyer wants, because even if they purchase on Amazon, even if they purchase on TikTok or anywhere else, it's the same thing. The platform changes, but the intent stays the same, right? Now, the last part, the last thing that I want to touch today is creatives, right? Ranking gets you seen. And what happens when people land on your listing? They look at the images, right? What Amy was saying. If your creatives don't help them decide, then they won't purchase. And this is where many sellers lose the sale, because they work so hard to rank, to get visibility, to bring the shopper to the listing, but then the creatives are just not answering their questions. And this is why, again, I come and say the keyword is the brief. For example, just a simple product, right? Travel pill organizer. What questions are they asking? Will it spill? Is it compact? Can I take it in my bag? Is it safe for travel? All kind of things, go through people's minds when they search for a product and they want to choose a product to buy. So your creative should probably show slim, profile, bag friendly, all those characteristics. Sorry. Now, if somebody searches weekly pill box for elderly, that's a different shopper, right? It's the same pill box, but it's a completely different shopper. The concern is it easy to read? Is it easy to open? Can somebody use it every day without being frustrated that they cannot open it? Same product category, same product, different creative brief. It's all in the brief. Another example, insulated lunch bag for office. Shopper is not just looking for a bag. They need to believe their food will stay fresh until lunch, that they fit into the real work routine, and that is, basically what they need to use every day. So when the seller asks, what images should we create? What video should we make? The first step would be keyword based. That would be where I would go. Not product based, because the product is the same, but you need to see what the product answers to. What does the shopper need to believe when they search for this keyword? That's the second question I want you to take away today. Ranking, as I said, gets you seen, but let's all remember that the creatives are the ones that mostly convince, and the algorithm sees the decision through conversion. So if I leave you today with just one idea, is this: stop treating keywords like a list. Treat them like a map. which shows you intent, which show you decisions of the buyer behind those keywords. Each keywords tell you what the shopper is basically trying to solve. Each keyword gives you a creative brief for a specific product, and each keyword, don't forget, gives the algorithm signal about where your product belongs. So before you launch a ranking campaign, before you start a PPC, before you even design your listing, or before you build your TikTok shop strategy, you should all ask yourself one question: what does the shopper need to believe when they search this keyword? If you can answer that clearly, and if your listing answers that clearly, then you're in a good place. This is our approach at AZRank, and if you need to talk some ranking, or if you need to just talk whatever, Amazon or e-commerce, I would be very happy to. You can find me on the QR code, which takes to my email straight, and or on the website or emails here. That was all for me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Alina. That's awesome. Great. So we can jump now to John. Thank you, guys.
Cool. Yeah. 100% I agree with what Alina was saying there. I think keywords, the A9 keyword is not dead for sure, right? And it's, what's really cool about Cosmo and the intelligence of the latest algorithm is that, Amazon is going to reward matching you to as many keywords as possible that will drive sales, right? Because they're going to make more money out of it. So the trick there is obviously the types of keywords are expanding because there's a lot more research keywords being put in as well. The longer tail research keywords are really important, not only for rank, but for conversational recommendations as well, right? So 100% agree with all of that. I'm going to jump in. I'm going to time myself here. So I'll give myself 10 minutes. So I know we still have one speaker left. So I want to just make sure that we have time for you. So I'll just share my screen and get going. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, we see. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. So what I'm going to cover today at a high level is the 4 AI substrates that are really important with regards to Alexa for shopping. This was announced just a couple of weeks ago with some of the additional substrates, which are really important. And I'll kind of point to the gap here of around optimization and what you can do to really improve the signaling to the algorithm that drives Alexa for shopping and obviously Amazon search. I'll start with it's coming up on Prime Day, right? So the unpopular opinion I would say right now is PPC fights for attention, and AI content optimization earns the recommendation. And I think this is so important to understand.
Just to confirm, John, we can see a WhatsApp. Is that
Oh, okay. No, you're seeing the wrong screen. Sorry about that.
No worries.
Man, I shared the wrong one. Thank you for catching me on that.
No worries.
All right, how about that?
There you go. Good.
Thanks. All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, cool, thanks. So the unpopular opinion, PPC fights for attention, AI content optimization earns the recommendation. This is like really important for sellers to understand, especially even going to Prime Day, is like, we're constantly battling with PPC and especially non-branded terms, right? How do we surface our products to, keyword search terms through PPC, get the awareness up there and obviously convert the sale. in a way, Alexa for shopping and conversational search is kind of a media play, right? Because if you can get recommended when even a shopper is not necessarily looking for your product, you're getting in front of them in a way that will make them aware of your product and convert them, right? So the recommendations and the signaling you can send through this organic way is an opportunity and a gap that you can cover, and it's going to get you in front of shoppers, much like PPC does, right? So it's just important to understand that there's a really critical aspect of the recommendation aspect of Alexa for shopping. I'm going to show you this example, and actually, let me just pause it for a second. But Amy even brought it up, right? And this is important to show you. Like I did this morning. I searched on my mobile app for food sensitivity test, and if you see the result that comes up, check it out, right? So I typed it in, I hit enter. And Alexa for shopping is coming up directly, right? So this is the kind of thing that Amazon is doing more and more of. You can see the top recommended products that are coming up. There's 3, right? And then it gets into, there's a couple more at the bottom, but it's recommending 3. So it's even less than the typical search results page. And Alexa for shopping is being tested and integrated into your shopping experience, right? So no longer are you even having to make the decision as to whether you're going to have conversational search experience or not. It's actually being presented to you, right? And this is one example. There's other ones. There's also, you can see the drop down happening in when you type in a keyword. Alexa for shopping is dropped into kind of the keyword, subset that's in there. So there's all these ways that are starting to integrate and truly test, how does the shopping experience change? And Amazon is seeing a 60% higher conversion rate for conversational search with Alexa for shopping, right? So they are absolutely motivated to get you to use that, right? So this is going to come up more and more. So you have to be setting the right signals in this process. So again, right? So and a lot of the speakers have already talked about this, right? We have this kind of typical keyword era, search where you get the SERP results, you compare. You click on a listing, you look at pricing, etc. That's kind of the old way, and obviously it's still the majority way of shopping. But you have this new way, which is like I use it as well. If there's anything that I'm potentially going to research or I don't know exactly what product I'm going to buy, I will use Alexa for shopping because it's going to help me identify, the decision-making criteria that's personal to me. And it's going to help me with recommendations before I even get to PDP. So like it shortens my shopping experience, right? So that recommendation is happening and that decision is me made much more upfront. So, to Alina's point, when you're getting to the actual PDP, Kamal said this as well, is, it's really a validation. So your shoppers buy with their eyes. So what's the narrative you're telling your carousel? What's the review count? What's your price? That becomes even more critical at that point. So the copy content is going to be there to help signal and to make sure that you get the recommendation, and then really the closing is obviously the balance of that on the page, right? And certainly a couple of your bullets connecting as well. So how you write the bullets, how it gets recommended, some of those longer tail search recommendations are so critical, right? In terms of how you surface. So the 4 substrates, the ones that you guys are probably more aware of are, probably 3 of these. The first one is the semantic coverage. This is obviously directly from Amazon. It's a product knowledge graph, right? And it's really based on communicating to Cosmo the signaling, the right signals around a product knowledge graph, so it understands how to match you with buyer behavior, right? So there's an actual technical knowledge graph that you need to map to with your content, right? And how you map to that, obviously, you can figure out how to do that yourself, or you can use a tool like we have to really check that you have matched to these 15 documented relational types. So that's critical because it allows Cosmo to connect the dots and therefore surface Alexa for shopping. Q&A coverage, this is definitely to do with reverse engineering the type of questions that by Q&A are covering, and to map that in your content. And Cosmo uses a process called RAG to make sure that it surfaces you, and you have to make sure that you're answering the right questions around your product. This takes a lot of reverse engineering. There's a lot of secret sauce that goes into this, but fundamentally at a high level, we've got a process we do on our side where we try and understand what are the most common questions around research criteria when people are searching a category based on a bucket load of data points that we have from Amazon directly, and then reverse engineering what are the main decision-making criteria around a product. What are the most important things for your specific niche, for your specific product? And we reverse engineer those. If you answer those questions in the right way, you therefore get surfaced in a lot more ways through the recommendation of Alexa for shopping for longer tail recommendations as well, which are the critical things, right? Back-end attributes are very important. And then the newest one is this audience fit, right? And you know, Alexa for shopping was announced, but there was an underhanded play there on allowing, I think it's called About Me, or you know, basically the signaling from your profile. So you now can go into Amazon and you can select what profile you want Alexa for shopping to reference. My personal profile, my work profile, my family profile, and all of those can have different likes, right? And it's taking that content to make sure it customizes the experience for you. That is absolutely critical. And for us as shoppers, we need to really understand who our ideal customer profile is, right? In a detailed way, because if you can understand who that person is, you can make sure you can answer the questions in a longer tail format. So those are the substrates that are important. You know, this is the product knowledge graph, you know, that you need to map to. This is the reverse engineering around Rufus that, you know, we cover in a lot of detail. There's a lot of weighting that goes into that around tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And there's a lot of testing that goes into this. I can tell you this is really, really critical that you answer the top level questions for both research and buyer making decision criteria. And therefore, you're going to get a lot more recommendations. And we see that in our results and tracking. So where the gap lives, I want to show you this, but it's mainly like, so this is, we track thousands of listings, right? And overall, you know, the median score is around 65 out of 100 based on our scoring, right? The median semantic coverage, which is on that product knowledge graph, is about 70, right? Typically, a lot of them are low, but the gap mostly is around this, the buyer Q&A side, right? And not answering your content, the buyer Q&A in the right way. And if you do that in a better way, you're going to get recommended and surface a lot more in Alexa for shopping for sure. And you know, even in the semantic in the content, make sure you also have the keyword side of the A9, right? And you don't have to keyword stuff anymore, but you need to make sure that you have your main relevant keywords in your listing as well. We cover that in our product. If you want to check your gap, you can go to this. It's free. Zonguru.link/CosmoRS. So, or you can obviously just screenshot that, but Zonguru.link/CosmoRS. If you just basically drop your ASIN in, we're going to send you a report. I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. And I did one on the food sensitivity test. So let me just jump over and show you what that looks like. Just make sure you can still see my screen. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, we can. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, you know, once you sign up, this is what you're going to get. You can just go to one product. You just drop in your ASIN and run the report. So I ran it on on two products. Basically, I chose one, the main food sensitivity test that was surfaced, right, on that that test that I just showed you. And then I took one from like the middle of page 1, right, to just see, hey, you know, why is Alexa for shopping recommending this product at the top? So this is the Cosmo readiness score that it got, 75 out of 100. You can see on the semantic mapping was 69%. Buyer Rufus Q&A, 88%. That's actually extremely high, right? Anything over 70 is really good. It's doing a really good job on this front. You can kind of see where the gaps are, right? What are the questions that are answered? What are some that are still missing, right? And then we also give you in the report, we'll actually tell you where and how you can actually improve the content, right? Both on the semantic side and then on the Rufus Q&A, we'll actually give you the ideas of like what you absolutely need to answer and how to improve it. So this report doesn't only just score it for you, it'll actually give you some recommendations based on a lot of that intelligent reverse engineering and data points that we have. Kind of like a lot of the stuff that Amy was covering of like, hey, these are all the thousands of things. We do a lot of that reverse engineering within the tool. So we're just surfacing you the answers there. And then I did another one on the other product in the middle of page 1. And look, here's the gap, right? You can see it, like 63% on the mapping, but 52% on the buyer Q&A. And that's, it's not 100%, but that's a lot of why it's not been recommended. Yes, reviews, product health, sell-through rates, all of the kind of things that Amazon typically look at are important. But I can tell you right now, if you're not really getting this up into the 80 plus, your chances of being surfaced as a recommendation through the various conversations and there's longer tail specific conversations for your target audience, it's just way less, right? And there's 300 million people using this today. So you're losing out on a lot of money. This is critical that you get done. Once you do that, you will see things. We track this across a lot of our products that are, optimized. And you'll see, this is what we track really: sessions, conversion rates, niche rank. And we see improvements literally from day one across all of these, right? Mostly sessions from AI readability, but conversion rate, because the way that we help you structure your content, it's kind of going back to the point that Amy was saying, which is like you need to, in the product, right? When you're creating a product, you need to actually not only make sure that it's AI readable, you need to write it in a way that connects better with your customer, surfaces the thing that they really care about from reviews, etc., and then helps with conversion rates. And that's what we actually do with our content. Is as you go through the process of our product, it's called Helix, by the way. We do a brand positioning and product positioning exercise first. So really understanding how to position your product to connect with customers in terms of what they care about, but then also to make sure it's differentiated from your competitors, and aligns with your brand, right? So writing the content, but making sure that it connects, and then is AI readable, and you can use that with our product. So again, if you want to, the best place to start is just go and download this report, run it on an ASIN, look at if there's a gap. If you see a gap, you can use various ways to improve that, including the report, or you can actually go onto Zonguru and you can sign up for our Helix product. This is making big waves, in the industry. You just go to zonguru.link/Helix. There's a coupon there if you want to get 25% off. You can run your products and your brands for free. It's only when you do the transformation that you pay. But check it out. It's a really cool process. If you are a brand owner, you'll see a lot of forest from the trees and understand how to position your product better, and then obviously how to make it AI readable. And you'll get results like this, like 98 out of 100, right? So it's definitely worth testing. But start with the reports. I think that's the best place to go. zonguru.link/CosmoRS, and you can get going from there. That's it for today.
Thank you, John. That was awesome. Very, very detailed. I appreciate them. Cool. And guys, I see a lot of questions, by the way, which is great. So we're gonna make sure to answer all of those at the end of the webinar. So make sure to keep coming them. So with them, gonna make sure we can go in detail. And then if there is anything specific for John or anybody else, then we can make sure this recording is gonna go live as well on all the social media channels and everything. And then of course we can answer it in the comments. Okay. So
yeah, I have to drop off in a second, so I won't be able to stay for the end. But thanks everyone for listening, and Abigail, I'll catch yours on the recording.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Awesome. And then to conclude, Abbygail, how you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Pleasure to have you here. So floor is yours. Yeah. Thank you.
Great. Cool. I'm just going to share my screen. Can you see my screen, Agentic Commerce?
Yes. I don't know if you want to put a full screen.
Yes.
Awesome.
So yeah, as an introduction, I'm Abby. I'm an enterprise customer success manager here at Azoma, where I work with FMCG brands to optimize their data and content for AI visibility. Here at Azoma, we provide the world's largest brands with a single end-to-end system to control how their products are understood, reasoned over, and acted on upon by machines. We do this by, we start off with tracking AI visibility across priority purchasing considerations on AI platforms such as Alexa. And then we optimize the listings, and then we track KPIs to measure the impact. So I'm going to talk about what brands need to know. So I think the core topic here that everyone seems to be talking about is like how to optimize. I think that brands also need to know why we need to optimize. We need to optimize for AI visibility because customer acquisition is at the heart of it. According to Sensor Tower data, customers are 2.74 times more likely to purchase on customers who use Rufus and Alexa are more likely to purchase than those who don't. So therefore, you've already got, higher conversion rates. The kind of people who are shopping using Rufus and Alexa are also, based on Generate panel data, are also tends to be female and highly educated. And these are the people who are more likely to use Rufus and Alexa.
Brands also need to know that Rufus has reasoning, citations, and memory. So, based on your purchasing history, it tends to recommend products that are more consistent with what you've been buying before. Um, and what makes it special is that it's not, it's this, AI digital shelf is shrinking. If, before everybody wanted to be on the first page of the search results, now there's less products being recommended instead of like the 50 on the first page. Using Rufus or Alexa, it's just 15 products at most. And this is why AI visibility is really important for brands. So, how has Alexa changed? Rufus has been integrated into Alexa, and where Rufus is the optimal search assistant, helping customers find the product that is best for the customer based on their previous shopping history. Alexa goes further and becomes a shopping agent, a personal shopper who won't only help you find the best product, but can also execute the actions and buy the product for you through agentic checkout. Um, examples that you can of what you can do is you can set alerts, you can compare options, you can schedule actions to remind you to buy certain products every month. How is this different from subscribe and save? Subscribe and save gets you the same product every month or every 6 weeks. Whereas with scheduled actions, you may want to get coffee every month, but maybe you want a different type of coffee and you need to be reminded to buy coffee. So this is where another thing that has changed with Alexa instead of just Rufus is that there's more of a hybrid mode of AI searches on the retail site. And what brands need to know about this is that this seems to combine both keyword search and intent-based search. Here at Azoma, we optimize content across images and product copy, as well as product data across all other retailers for the full agentic commerce system. By following the Cosmo framework, you capture all the different use cases in your product and try to capture that intent that customers search for, not only through Alexa prompting, but also through this kind of almost traditional keyword prompting on Amazon search, and then they get recommended all these, additional prompts. So what I think brands need to know is that customer acquisition through AI visibility is really important. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Abbygail. That was great. Appreciate those insights. And that brings us to the end of the webinar. So I just wanted to use the last couple of minutes because I saw there's a couple of questions I wanted to go over. So let me just kind of double down on some of the answers. I can see the team already has, and you guys, the speakers, have contributed. So very quickly, I see, actually, I think there's a question for you as well, Kamal. Somebody was asking regarding the AI image opt thing that you mentioned. I don't know if you want to comment anything on that as well.
Was it by the Adam or
Adam, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Adam, I think shout out to Adam. He's been using our listing optimization.ai. So he uploaded like 100 images and he saw improvement in sales, all of them. And he also not just saw the improvement, he's saying that he increased the price as well and the sales still went up. So like it's not a question, he's just supporting me in the chat. Thank you, Adam. Yeah.
Cool. So I saw some quick question. I just wanted to double down regarding AMC. So yes, I think I'm gonna try to pronounce your name correctly. So Shuking, maybe. Sorry if that's not correct. But yes, with Amazon Marketing Cloud, you can essentially use audio as an impression. And of course, what we're doing to make sure we can optimize for Alexa at the voice level is making sure we also understand our touch points in terms of organic and advertisement, then creating audiences, and out of those audiences, then embed that within sponsored products. Okay. Cool. We saw some questions here. let's see. I just want to see if there is some question that maybe wasn't totally answered that we can go more in depth. Yes, so I saw some question from Mohit regarding the long term. Actually, this was already answered by Alina in terms of, yeah, actually what she mentioned is very insightful. Like, I recommend everybody, by the way, anything that's to do with a search query performance report, opportunity explorer, that's really where you're gonna get most of those answers when it comes to long-term keywords. So to be honest, even myself, I'm always impressed by how many times I talk to brands that they don't even know that exists. So definitely make sure that's part of your procedure when it comes to optimization. And let's see if there's any other questions. Replays, yes, anything that's to do with the replay, guys, you're gonna get that by email, and we're gonna publish that on all our social media channels. And there's also a question from Mohit regarding voice search research. So regarding my topic, for those that maybe just joined midway, I was one of the first one talking about how to use Alexa on the voice format. So yes, the way we do voice search research is two-way. The first one, just organically, we do a research where we analyze essentially Alexa in terms of asking questions and engaging, and then create a note of what is the kind of the nature of Alexa engaging with us in terms of the questions and answers. And then Claude, we also use it to come up with kind of an overview of analysis and reverse engineering everything in terms of what usually people will engage with when it comes to voice, and in this case, the shopping assistant. Okay. And I think other than that, all the questions I can see they've been answered in depth. So I don't think there's much more there. So I think that's perfect to conclude with that. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I know we run a bit over time, but I'm sure you got a lot of insights, a lot of value, and that's the most important thing. So thank you so much. And for all the speakers, I know some of them had to drop off because they're very busy people, as you can imagine. So but hopefully they gave you, a lot of kind of strategies that you can take home and implement. And from my side, I just wanna say essentially to hopefully see you in the next webinar as well. So be mindful that these webinars are gonna be run every 2 weeks. So we'll usually try to keep them very engaging with new topics, new guests. So definitely stay tuned. And hopefully I see you in the next one. And in the meantime, keep crushing it. Yeah. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Take care. Bye-bye.